everyone, my name is Dan Shimolinski. People like to call me Chimy, and you can too. I am a bassist, sound designer, and composer living in Los Angeles, and we are back to check out yet another awesome library. This is again from the Hybrid Cinema series, and it is called Candy and Strums, and let me tell you, it's pretty sweet. Now, we've checked out a couple libraries from the Hybrid Cinema series at this point. We've checked out analog modular percussion, sub-hits, and those two are definitely more like tailored through and through for the big screen, right? This, however, I think you'll notice that these are sounds that you can use in really just about anything. These sounds can definitely be used in a cinematic setting, but also you could totally throw this into pop music, electronic music, anything that really involves samples. This is a treasure trove of sweet candy for your ears, and I do recommend that you pick up some headphones or some good speakers because there's going to be a lot of stereo action happening, and you're not going to want to miss it. Now, what is Candy and Strums? Well, when I think of ear candy, I think of things that just connect with me on a physical, metaphysical level, activate all my senses, my smell, my taste, my sight, imagery, all this stuff just is totally engaged with sounds like this. And really what we're dealing with here is a register we haven't touched yet. This is almost exclusively all upper harmonic, high, treble, super high information that's meant to kind of magically entrance your listeners. The ear candy portion of it is going to be more atmospheric textural stuff, and the strums are actually literally strums. You'll hear in a second. They're these beautiful chord arpeggiations, and we get 6 parts with ear candy and strums, and they all do come from synthesizers, both analog and digital, and this is really the name of the game here. Just magic, wonder, sparkles, awe, really exciters is kind of the word that comes to mind. And so, whether you're doing scores, whether you're doing pop productions, hip hop, stuff like that, there is something useful in here, and I can't wait to show you. Now, unfortunately, we don't get too many descriptive words here in terms of what these parts hold. There's Ear Candy Strums Synth 1, Ear Candy Strums Synth 2, then just Ear Candy Synth 1, 2, 3, and 4. But they are kind of grouped in logical ways, and the more you work with the library, the more you'll kind of know where to go to get certain things. I want to start with this first part here, and you're going to hear what I mean by strum. It's a literal strum. And sort of along the same lines of sub-hits, you're going to notice that, yes, we are absolutely going to be blending this with other stuff and making super sounds, and the programs are awesome combinations of these layers, but they are kind of perfect out of the box. I mean, really lovely reverb treatments, EQ'd perfectly, meant to just sit in your mix at just the right time when you need it. That gives birds to me, right? Chirping. I was just playing the white keys. I mean, we could... It's one of my favorites. I think I used that in one of the programs. So if you did not notice, these are all kind of in the same key, the key of C. Definitely more minor-y side of things, but some sus stuff, some major stuff. But you can hear that there's a lot of different textural choices you have, right? You definitely have more of your harsher, more, treble-focused stuff, your more atmospheric stuff, and then you have some stuff that's filtered down. The chords kind of strum at different speeds. They strum in different ways, different inversions of that chord. So really, you're getting a lot here. And the main difference that I've noticed between Strums Synth 1 and Strums Synth 2 is 1 tends to be a little cleaner, and 2, in my opinion, tends to be a little dirtier, a little washier, maybe a little more grudgier, kind of just something that's supposed to, like, I don't know, give more of a textural ambiguity. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Let's try synth 2. But then you get a clean one every once in a while. But you hear what I'm saying? There's a little bit more room noise, if you will. That's a lovely surprise. Little 4-1 action there. That's a song. So lovely. So you can kind of get the gist here, right? This is magic. I mean, this is just such a magic library. And to me, yeah, does that sound a little more atmospheric to you? A little more stuff happening? I don't know. It's up to you. But that's definitely what I get from it. And then as we're moving on, these synth parts tend to be more one hits. And you're going to notice differences in length. Some of them loop. Definitely a huge amount of thought put into giving you the biggest variety of sounds, covering a full spectrum. That's kind of a common thing through all of these libraries. You'll notice it's just like, give me what I need and also 40 times more. I've said it before, but I definitely feel that way, and it's the same with this. But here's synth 1. Be a hybrid with some sort of string thing, right? So those are very focused on the low end of the frequency spectrum, definitely getting into some almost like sub-hit territory. You're noticing that I'm sure there were some acoustic sounds in there that are processed through synths. Haven't talked to Trolls specifically about that, but I'm gathering that's what happened here. But let's check out synth 2 and see what that's like. So even though we're now dealing with maybe some lower frequency information, you can tell there's been a great deal of thought put into the upper harmonics and the stereo imaging of these samples. Far too much upper harmonic information to be, a sub-hit, for example. Let's check out synth 3. So that's an example of a looping patch there. It's just beautiful. It's like a dystopian flute choir kind of thing, I think it looped. I missed it, but that's awesome. That's an awesome... Where was it? For all those playing along at home, that is C4. Cool. Nice. Super long riser. Love it. Super useful. More risers. So this is clearly the riser part if you're looking for stuff that's happening with the pitch action of these synths. Part 3 is your go-to. And then finally, let's check out synth 4. Check out that stereo image. Ooh. Like, I know it's a sub sound, but there's so much treble information that's just candy to the ears. Perfect. Oh, that's useful. Oh my gosh. That would just be a great little accent to throw in the middle of a otherwise, you know, pretty kind of minimalist film score, and then just... Sweet. Woo. Super, super cool. 4 is kind of your mixed bag part, I gather. But that's really, really awesome. So you kind of get the vibe. So you've got your gritty stuff, you've got your harsh stuff, but you also have your really pretty and magical stuff. The common, theme between the two of them is just that it's really meant to kind of massage the ears. It's meant to kind of just, move in interesting ways and just really kind of make a magical sonic spectrum for your listeners. But anyway, those are the parts. As always, we are going to pop over to our program section to see this stuff in action. And I know, I just feel like I'm repeating myself at a certain point. Yes, we get a lot of programs, but you really get a lot of programs here. I mean, this is quite a few, and they're all great. They're all great. I've gone through most of them, and they just utilize these parts in super interesting ways. And I just love to show some to you. So let's check out Ambient, Fireflies. This is definitely one of the most alive libraries that you can get from Soundpaint. I mean, motion and stereo imaging and, really tailoring these kind of upper harmonic sweet frequencies to ways in which just, it touches a part of you inside that's just like, goosebumps, right? Instant goosebumps. And, that definitely does that one for me. So bravo, trolls. Let's check out another one by him. This is Flickers. Pretty cool. So it's weird because, like, you know, it's hard to describe this. I mean, ear candy is the way to do it, but, you know, it's in the digital realm, but there's so much life and activity and beauty. But the motion that is created from these parts is just, it's like, that takes so much layering and so much time and so much like automation to get that kind of stuff from like your own samples. Trust me, I've done it. So to have it in the box like this is just perfect. And I do always love how we can count on Trolls to give us a mod wheel to EQ band. And let's do some more. Wow, Trolls has a lot in here. Let's do Ambient Touch. And I see that we have some options. We can turn our phaser or our shimmer reverb on or off. We'll leave them off first just to hear what that sounds like. And this is using just 2 parts of the same part, synth 3. These are sonic worlds, you know, these are absolutely like just transformative, beautiful worlds that you get to enter in Soundpaint, and super fun. Let's check out what the phaser would sound like. Kind of tailors some of the low end of that, makes it a little more focused, but also adds more motion, and then put that through a shimmer reverb. Gives you more upper stuff. So, you know, phaser kind of focuses it, adds a little more motion within that register, and then pipes it into a very treble-friendly pitch mix reverb. So, you know, I love sound designers that give options. So, you know, always be sure to turn things on and off to see what they sound like. I like them both. Let's check out Bartok Arp, and I'm guessing that, oh yeah, we got some information in here. Let's check it out. I was not expecting that. I'm so glad I turned on EQ10. That is the coolest thing. What? So that's an LFO coming into gain band 7? Wow. Cool. It's a square wave, so it's just flickering. What a unique thing. So just taking one of your registers and just oscillating it, and it's, of course, you know, tempo sync to a dotted 30-second note. That is sweet. Oh, man. So, you know, just because stuff isn't always apparent on the surface in Soundpaint, like, you know, this is a totally cool part by itself. But then you add this tremolo effect that's solely from, you know, using that band around the 2K mark. That's genius. I love that. That is super, super cool. And again, like, you know, how happy are your ears right now? Like, it's all this, you know, it's almost like I've been hesitating to say this, but like I get ASMR vibes from, you know, where a lot of this stuff is coming from. You know, it really is focused on just that fine, you know, upper register, the super highs. You know, look, we got a boost around the 10K mark. It's just it's ear candy. I have no other way to say it. But let's check out Endless Space. I was gonna play more chords for you, but it just keeps going and going and going. That verb grain is at 100%. Let's dial that back. Very cool. So lots of atmospheric drone action happening there. 2 parts from Strum's Synth 2 and from Ear Candy Synth 4. Very cool. All right, let's check this out. Ever Riser Pad. This is probably going to utilize, yes, one of our part 3 risers that we found earlier. Let's take a listen. Super, super useful. Very fun going through the shimmer reverb, and then we have the phaser again if we want it, probably doing a similar thing. Yeah, kind of focusing the sound a little bit more. Very, very cool. This program's called House Choir, and it is very cool. And it does definitely come from house music, like kind of your house chord. Got some mono glide action happening there. I like it without. Try again. Some good house hit chord there. Very cool. That's just one part, 1 note stretch. Awesome. This is one of mine. This is from my kind of obsession with one key music melody kind of things here. And you might notice this is a hidden gem. We've got some interesting parts here, and I'm not sure what's out there yet. Well, I do know you do have the 1928 sustain, but this is also utilizing some string parts that if they're not out now, will be at some point. But I want to start with the Ear Candy Strum that I chose because it's kind of one of my favorites. Isn't that beautiful? When I was making this, I was like, wow, that's just in and of itself music. You know, kind of a 3-octave run of strums. I'm hearing strings, I'm hearing flutes, I'm hearing synths. It's It's a beautiful, beautiful part. And then we add in our piano part, which is tuned down 2 octaves from that, giving us just a little bass fluff. And then we have these little cello harmonics. Playing the 9. Going along with part 1, we have these tremolos, a 5th above. So all together. Mod wheel bringing in a healthy amount of stereo image, chorus, and Lexi reverb. Let's check out Pacman. We are using Morph. This is another thing, right? I always talk about how Morph is kind of like, in my rationalization of what it is and what it does, it's kind of like an envelope for another instrument. And so can you imagine blending, maybe we'll do this in the program section, but can you imagine blending a, acoustic instrument within one of these crazy trilly frilly kind of upper harmonic synth things? It's a very cool thought, just super useful stuff. But this one is called Pacman, and it is morphing 2 synth parts. There's the magic. Interesting. So this is Troll's part. Troll's is using a kind of almost like using the morph as a dark to bright sound effect here. I also like that he's chosen a specific 1-note stretch here on the on this part. I'm interested in what he chose. Let's turn off morph just so I can hear. Pretty Pac-Man-y. So that is existing within all of the other options that you can use here. So it's kind of adding almost like a little bit of a 8-bit arpeggiation effect to all of these parts here in Strum's Synth 1. Very cool choice. Love it. And finally, let's check out Strum Pointilism. There's our low grain reverb. Very simple part though. We're using one note stretch and it's just going through a really nicely treated EQ through a grain reverb, but it's really, really nice. And as with a lot of these libraries, you'll notice that there are these main ones here, which are just kind of really lovely treatments of each of these parts. So specific EQ, specific Lexi reverb, sometimes some tone control, just basically the best possible treatment of each one of these. And so you do have a main part for all of those. But yeah, those are some programs. I mean, we just scratched the surface. There is a ton in here that you can check out. So let's make one of our own. There is something very meditative about this library. I don't know if you're noticing that, but like, you know, you really can just hold a key and get lost in the motion, get lost in the strum. And so I think it would be fun to create something that really overemphasizes, you know, the stereo panning motion. I'm hearing a lot of LFOs to you know, the stereo field. Maybe we can do some stuff with volume, but let's just try and stay within a part and see how far that gets us. I have not really planned out what I'm going to do here, but I'm just interested in kind of finding maybe a nice one note stretch that we can grab and use in our first part. I'm looking for something that's on the mellow side. I'm looking for something that has some motion, something that has some good sustain to it, but also is really a good foundation for our sound. So let's see what we find. Maybe I want a strum. Let's try a strum. Let's go off of that. I love that one. I would love a one note stretch part of that. Super, super beautiful. And that's a little high up on the key bed, so I'm going to drop it an octave, just, you know, make it, raise it an octave. My bad. Yeah, so, you know, I jumped into it. I'm just like, let's build a sound off of this. Okay, so the next thing I'm hearing is maybe something to kind of just give us a little more weight, a little more sustain. And I'm going to kind of jump into our synth 2 part. I know there was some lower information stuff there, but I want to give kind of a bass thud part. You know what I'm talking about? So let's see if we can find that. Thud. And something with a little more pitch. I bet those would pair real nicely together, but let's find out. I like those two. I'm hearing a washier, atmospheric part that kind of, so this is all very, for me, this is all very just like active kind of, you know, burbling under the surface. Just let it massage the ears. And I'm hearing another part that's definitely more in the atmospheric, windy, kind of like harsher category of these sounds. And then I want to try something with the volume that I've done a couple times before, but I would love to have it if it was like shh, 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 and it kind of sped up. You hear how that first part speeds up? And it has like a little bit of a trill effect. I'd love to do that with volume with a treble specific layer to kind of just create some more interesting motion happening within this part. So as always, I like to turn off the parts that I have settled on. Nothing's ever settled. You gotta be open to changing everything. But I'm gonna go searching through this strum part again and see if I can find some harsher, more atmospheric-y sounds. Something like that, but even harsher. That's a contender. I kind of like that. Let's roll with that for a second. So I'm going to one note stretch that. And I know what you're thinking. That's going to sound like mush with these other parts. And you'd be right. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to assign an LFO to the volume. And I want that LFO to maybe do the full range. We're going to change it to a ramp, reverse behavior, sync off. I'll just solo this one part. Doing that, but it gets better. Hold on. Then, I'm a little ambitious here, but let's give it a try. I'm going to assign an LFO to the frequency and have that be a ramp too. So, but I'd love it to be just a little bit slower. So it's going to slowly bring up that frequency. That's a cool effect. That is ear candy to me. That's kind of just that, like, you know, really, really milking that sound. Let's go ahead and, now I kind of like everything about this. Maybe make it a little bit slower so it's not quite as abrasive. I don't know. It's pretty neat to me. That's cool. I'm going to change the range of that volume just a little bit because I don't want it to max out my mix. And the cool thing about this LFO is we can assign it to not only that, but also the panning as well. Ho, 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 ho. Yes, we can. And I'm going to see... Yeah. Maybe a little bit of a tighter range. So now we have volume and stereo image of this kind of atmospheric, super treble, super high, super washy sound. Let's check it out. That's working exactly how I want it to. Let's bring in our other layers here and see what that sounds like. Now, you do have to kind of time the hits so that, you know, you have it so that it's starting at its lowest point and then speeds up. I would love to have trigger modes for LFOs in Soundpaint, maybe someday, but that's a very, very cool effect. I'm going to accentuate the trebleness of that third part just a little bit here. And then I want to throw in a fourth part. I want to get a real juicy, meditative motion sound happening. So let's turn off 1, 2, and 3. And let's go fishing for one more. What's going to complement that? Oh, I got it. All right, that one note stretch, but we're going to do an envelope on that part, and it's going to be a real slow fade in. And I'm going to go to my pan, assign an LFO, boom, LFO 3, nice and slow, nice and wide. Woo, milk it. I love that. We're going to really boost that part. Let's hear if that works with part 1. And I think because this part is so... I think we're going to have to... No, I like it up there. I love that so much. I'm going to give a little bit of release to everything happening here just so that when I pull my hand off the key, it doesn't dead stop. Maybe that's even a little too slow of an attack. Let's check out our part 2. Part 2 could be more of like the dark hit, so we could bring that tone down. And you know what? Let's go ahead and put that, ooh, this could be interesting. Let's do a 4th LFO, have it be maybe a little slightly faster than our other low part, maybe a little tighter. See what that part 3 does for us, right? I'm loving this. I know this is like kind of like I'm throwing everything at the board and just seeing what sticks, but this is just super, super meditative. Now, one thing I'm going to notice is this is a very bright, abrasive sound, right? I wanted this to be a little more meditative. So, you know, as I'm playing these notes, it's a lot right off the bat. So I'm going to just darken the whole thing and put a filter on it that I control with my CC wheel. This kind of just general warm everything up filter is definitely a go-to here, the latter one. This is going to kind of give us, I think, what we're looking for. Oh yeah. And don't worry, we'll get some reverbs, we'll get some delays going here in a second. But I'm definitely going to add a CC automation. Cool. Sweet. So from a performance standpoint, from an orchestration standpoint, that's going to be a great tool to have. Now, before the filter, I might want to take a hard look at my EQ situation, fish out some low mids, because, you know, the more you do stack these, the more you do tend to get a little bit of frequency buildup. So you just have to be conscious of that. Again, our always awful range of just like frequency buildup in most mixing, you know, modern music is just that low 300, 350 range. I just want to check it out and see what's there. Bit of a cut. And then I always like to do another boost kind of around this region to just preserve our bass note frequency, to just kind of, you know, really have a strong fundamental. I might even cut some of the harshes in that region there and then boost the super, super highs. Let's do a high shelf. And it'd be really cool if we did the Trolls trick here and added some CC automation. Nice. That's effective. That works for me. It's interesting that I'm lowering the part of number 1, which was supposed to be our fundamental sound, but like now this is so low registry and bassy and just like there's so much motion happening. That's That's more of the foundation for me, and now part 1 has kind of become a little more ornamental. It's interesting. Stuff can change, you know? So here's where I go from here. First off, let's just get like a touch more release on everything, just because, you know, we like a little bit of a taper. I'm sort of thinking a cool effect would be to have maybe something like a shimmer reverb post filter and have this same LFO going to that. Just I want to see what it would sound like. I might ditch it, but let's try it. I'm gonna do no pitch mix for now and just see what happens. Let's go LFO 1. Let's see. I think it'll be cooler once we open up the filter. That's pretty cool. I think let's see what happens if we try some pitch mix. It's pretty neat. I'm for it. It accentuates what's happening in part 3. I like it. I'm going to leave it. I want to just make sure our panning is cool. So I'm going to keep this one in the center. Although, no, I'm not. Because now that it's this more ornamental thing, I'm going to do another LFO. Yeah, baby. We're doing it. You know, the key to this is motion, right? You know, baked into these parts, there's so much motion already happening. And then the more you add, just the more interesting your spectrum becomes. So I think we could do something where we do maybe a 5th LFO. And this one, like a medium speed, maybe a 60% spread on either side. And then what else did we have? Did we have panning for this one? Yes. Do we have panning for this one? Yes. Do we have panning for this one? Yes. Everything's moving. All right, cool. This is really, really neat. And then I think just as a literal, like a general, just kind of put it in the same room. I like to sometimes put just a Lexi room kind of reverb on the end of everything, just to give it a little more diffusion. Maybe something like soft stage will sound nice. Maybe something like 25%, something like that. And I'm pretty into this. Let's hear what it sounds like. I think that's pretty cool. That's just definitely like, you know, this was, and granted, I understand this was definitely my most like, let's just jump into it and see what happens sound, but we ended up with something really, really cool. And I think the thing I'm trying to instill in all of you guys is just like, don't be afraid to try and just jump into these parts with no plan, because the parts themselves will inspire what you're going to do. You know, obviously like the sweet spot of this library is definitely like upper harmonic stuff, right? Motion, treble material. But, you know, there's also some really great bass sounds in here. There's some really great foundations. And, you know, the motion in every single one of these notes is tailored to a perfection. You've got it through a reverb. And just the more you stack, the more you get things kind of gelling together, the more interesting your finished product's going to be. And just because I said I would try it before I go, I want to try and morph an interesting strum with maybe a piano sound and just hear what it kind of yields, because I think, you know, that's an interesting aspect of this, is you are getting that motion, you are getting that kind of arpeggiation, that kind of rush, that thing. So, you know, it'd be really cool to treat that as an envelope for another sound. So let's find a good one. I'm sure it's probably going to be in Synth 1 Strums, because that's kind of the cleaner stuff. But let's find one that I like that's just a nice demonstration of what I consider to be the sweet spot of this part. I mean, yeah. We could. That one has a little more resonance to it, so I'm going to go with that one. That is B3. And then what do we put with it? Let's try maybe... I use the 1928 piano a lot because I know you all have it, so it's just a good starting place, but let's try it. Let's drop it an octave just to help ourselves out. Okay, let's try morph. Oh, wow. That's so cool. I'm only like 20% into the morph here, and it sounds like someone's dropping a bunch of marbles on the strings of a piano. What? Get even more exaggerated. I think that's going to be the direction, but let's try the other way and just see what happens. No, that's just going to add more of a little like a piano plume, which would maybe be nice for a staccato to kind of add a little more of the fundamental, but the other way, that's the magic. Yo! Okay. So, I'm kind of hearing... It'd be really cool if we did a reversed piano layer as well. Maybe even an octave above this. Vibe with me. Let's see if we can do this. So I'm going to turn this guy off. Let's load up another sustain layer. And I'm going to use my offset tool here to click on part 3 and reverse it and find a sweet spot. Feather it a little bit with the detail tool. Bring up the volume on that. Micro pitch. We're going to go ahead and add an LFO to it because why not? A nice fast one. Give us a little bit of a lo-fi effect. Not that much. And you might notice it's a little flat there because we didn't change our bias to center, so it was coming from the bottom. That's right, more in the center of it. Now, okay. Now, nice lush reverb. What am I gonna choose? Should I do shimmer? Let's do shimmer, but let's do it with no pitch mix, and let's do kind of a smaller size, a little bit less time. Oh, this is gonna be cool. I think this is gonna be cool. It's either gonna suck or it's gonna be awesome, but we'll find out together. So we just got somewhere very, very quickly. I mean, that's just like, that is, that's already so fascinating to me. And then you throw in this reverse layer. Wow. So that is one synth strum morphed with one piano layer with another one on top of it with just a little bit of LFO action and some awesome shimmer reverb, and you have the most unique piano you could possibly create. So, I mean, that is we got there real fast. But the answer to my question, which we started with, is yes, you absolutely can treat these synth strums as envelopes for other acoustic instruments and create some really interesting sounds. So I think that's going to do it. Just a real quick run through of Ear Candy and Strums. You know, this is a magical, alive library that really could fit into any film score, any modern music production, anything you're doing, electronic music, house music. It's a box of candy. It really, truly is. You're going to be hard pressed for me to find a library that I don't like in Soundpaint, because I think everything is useful, but this one in particular has some of the most unique strum action stuff. I mean, again, kind of what I was getting to with sub hits. You know, it takes a while to perfectly tailor these kinds of sounds, find the right source, find the right synth, then EQ it perfectly, get the stereo field motion, get the reverb just dialed in perfectly. And like, as I've shown, I feel like, you know, these parts are just ready to go right out of the box. And, you know, you are just, it gives more gifts when you start stacking them on top of each other and adding more motion. You know, you are rewarded for your exploration with this library, and that just speaks to the soul of Soundpaint for me, and I really hope you guys pick this one up because it's a special one. So thanks so much for taking a journey with me. Looking forward to seeing you next time. This is Chimy, signing out. Take care.